I loved myself through what I had been through. This is how I stayed afloat even when life's waters raised above my head. Sanbonani, Dumelang Abusheni, hello and welcome to the Unbecoming to Become podcast with me, Eunice Temba. If you are a new listener, allow me to say good morning. May the morning joy stay with you all day long. We are on a journey which focuses on unbecoming all the things that people, society, and experiences have told us to be. Before I go any further, please do not forget to subscribe and like and leave a comment. I know without a doubt that this episode is going to be one of those that will push you to want to take notes. I am actually on a journey of giving love the same way that I want to receive it, and it took me being intentional to actually reach this level of wellness. Well, you are probably wondering, what does this go on about? After a very fruitful and enlightening series of relationships, it came to me that I might just as well continue with the wellness and well-being because they link into each other so much. And I feel like there's a lot that we also need to unlearn. You know, when we were born on our highest selves, but throughout life we became exposed to external influences, the way our parents raised us, who we interacted with at school. All of that led to us being conditioned to how we are right now. And mainly to the youth, being a youth is stressful enough. And I was like, let me just bring about people who would be willing to share their experiences of how they are going on with this whole life thing. We are going to be talking everything from social connectedness, emotional health, physical health, in connection to unbecoming and unlearning. And to kickstart this particular journey, this series of wellness and well-being, I am doing a rewind to one of my favorites interviews that I did with Ndinalao Nehemia, all the way from Namibia. Now, I felt the need to begin with this particular episode because it is like a burning bridge to this entire series. I feel the need to be intentional in order for me to walk into the wellness and well-being series powerfully. Sometimes you may look at your upbringing and feel as though the odds were stacked against you, but what you don't realize is that God has stacked them for you. All our experiences are lessons that actually prepare us for what is to come. And I first learned this from Ndinalao, and today I am giving you a rewind. You definitely don't want your wounds to pollute your gift, and what's scary is that they will if they are unhealed. Well, to get more of that, let us meet on the other side of the show. From me to you, let us continue to unbecome to become. I think for the longest time, we are caught up on what everybody else is doing, or rather what society wants of us to become, so much so that we lose sight of the purpose of our lives. Today's episode is titled Having Intention, and I am joined by rather a very beautiful friend that I've just recently met. She's all the way from Namibia, and her name is Ndina. Welcome to the show, Ndina. How are you today?
I'm good, Eunice. Thank you so much for having me. I'm good. I'm amazing, fantastic. I feel great. I'm honored to be doing this with you, and I'm so glad that you invited me to do this with you. So yes, my name is Ndinalao Nehemia, and I come from the land of the brave, Namibia.
Awesome. Firstly, I know that you are a person who likes to feel just like me. And I know this because soon after we started following each other on Instagram, you posted something along these lines. I'll just quickly read. It was like a picture of you at the park with a book, and you were like, life is beautiful, but life is also overwhelming. If you know me personally, you must know by now that I love to feel and I love to acknowledge those feelings. I allow myself to be present in my feelings, and that's how I cope with this beautiful but overwhelming life. And soon after that, after I read that, I was like, this is my kind of person. So,
Yes.
if I may ask, since you allow yourself to feel, is it something that you do intentionally, and why?
Um, well, that's a hard question. Well, it's not hard, but
Uh-huh.
honestly, I've never really thought about it. Like, I've never consciously thought about, oh, you like to feel. Like, I've always just been like that. I've always just been, I'm not sure if emotional is the right word, but I've always been present with how I feel and expressing my feelings. Like I said, it was never intentional. It was just the way I am. But now that I'm, I think, older and, life experiences, I've come to think that, oh, this, you're actually a feel person. You like to feel. And
Yeah.
I think now that I understand the term intentional, I'm definitely intentional about it. And I think life circumstances have, led me to be this person.
That you
Growing
are.
up, that I am, yes. I went through a few things growing up, and, if you go through things growing up, tough times, I think you feel. And, I guess now I can proudly say I love to feel intentionally, and it keeps me going. I feel like if you acknowledge what you are going through and you're able to speak about it,
Yeah.
whether, to yourself or to someone else, or express yourself, I think it helps you move on, and it helps life a bit easy if you take things off your chest.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And more because unbecoming to become is a process where you unbecome all of the things that you've been told to be. And
Definitely.
I feel like in most instances, like at home, you would cry and they'll be like, why are you crying? Toughen
Yeah.
up. Be a woman, be a
Exactly,
man.
yeah.
And you end
Yeah.
up bottling all of those things. You end up going through life not knowing what you're doing is okay or not okay. So I actually like how you have put it, that you've been through life, and
Yeah.
this should not be you labeling yourself that you've been through life, because there's still a lot that's gonna come and test you. And I feel why I also started this whole podcasting thing is because I feel like people go through stuff and they
People go through stuff, so much stuff.
yeah. And with one moment of failure, you feel like your life is done. There's nothing that you can do after that. And I felt like, let's create a community where we all come together and we share our experiences. I don't want us to share the highlights. No, let's share the journey. Let someone else know that there's Ndina who's from Namibia. She's going through this, but she's keeping like a strong mindset. She's trying her level best not to let life get in the way. I love that.
And growing up as a black child, a black African child,
Yeah.
I'm not so sure if it's the same in South Africa, but in Namibia, our tradition doesn't really allow us to feel and be intentional about our
Girl,
feelings,
I think it's
because
the same.
the moment you start feeling, then you are either you are spoiled, or you are too sensitive, and you have all these labels being thrown at you, or you're just it's associated with that's not typical of us black people. That's more of a white person thing, because us black people, throughout our lives, we are told we are strong, we take things, we take and take and take and take, and we are not allowed to express, we are not allowed to feel any type of way. And even if you feel, it's fine. You can feel and move on. Our feelings are very disregarded. And, I think this idea that you came up and learning, it's such a beautiful thing, most especially
Thank you.
for us, the black child, because growing up, we are so tough. We are toughened by the circumstances, the situation, and to make it worse, our people don't know how to, feel certain feelings.
True.
It's a good example is even just, feeling loved. Of course, I know that I'm loved, by my family. I know that they love me, but they won't do things that show you that they love you. I know that I'm loved because, I have a meal, and that's good enough. I had an opportunity to maybe go to school, but I don't think they are very intentional in you feeling these things and in showing and expressing emotions, because I don't know why it's so hard for us black people, but it's, I think this is a brilliant idea that you came up. I think sometimes we have to unlearn everything that we, were brought up with or that were taught to be right, because life is such it can be a long journey, and we go through so much. And it's just, I feel like for us, to be the best that we can, there are certain things that we definitely need to let go of, and certain things that we need to learn again to move forward from this point to become even greater than we've ever imagined.
Awesome. I like that. And in case our listeners don't know, Dina is an African living in America. And with that said, I know that being this side has changed the way I think. It has shaped my thinking in so many ways. And on my previous podcast, episode 1, I touched mainly on the point of having a brain. For you, being an African, being exposed to the American culture, how do you think that has actually shaped how you think,
Oh my God. I cannot even begin to explain how this whole experience has changed my way of thinking.
Right.
And I think I was having a similar conversation with a friend of mine a few days ago, and I was telling her that I think I can't explain the feeling, but I almost want to say, you have to experience it to understand what I'm talking about. I've noticed that the people over here are very open-minded, very liberal in their thinking. And I think that's something we don't really have back home. And, well, millennials, I think, are, open-minded now. But there's still a good few people who are still just not open-minded about things, and they're just closed off about things. Coming here, my whole thinking has been, changed. I now feel like anything is possible, if it makes any sense at all. I feel like whatever it is that I want, I can get. And it doesn't even it feels like, okay, it might be hard, but it doesn't feel impossible.
At all.
At all. I've even fear itself. I'm still scared of a few things and still scared of the unknown. But I think even fear has left me, because I'm thinking, if I could do this experience, I can do anything. And I think it's the way they think, because they're not limited. The way they think, they're not limited to what they can reach. They aspire for greatness, and I think it's something that we need to learn back home. So I can't really put it in words to explain how my thinking has changed, except to say it has changed.
And in a very beautiful way.
In a very beautiful, positive way. Growth. I feel like I can, whatever it is that I set my mind to and that I want, I can get it, I can do it. And it's funny, because a few years ago, I would never, I would never speak like this. I'd think, I want to maybe, let's say, travel to Europe. But, who am I to travel to Europe? I come from a poor family. I don't have this, I can never do that. Now I'm thinking, why not? I deserve the goodness that I want as much as the next person. And this is all, it's things you learn from the people here, because that's how they think. I live with a host family right now, and even just you sometimes I sit back and I just observe their family dynamics, how encouraging they are to their kids. They tell their kids, they motivate them, they tell them you can do whatever it is that you want. They affirm the kids, they tell them you're smart, you're beautiful, you're this, and they create that platform for the kids, the platform and the households for the kids to grow up thinking, the world is my oyster. So, and I think living with them for a while, it has started rubbing off me, because now I feel, Eunice, I feel untouchable.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there's so much I can do. So definitely you're thinking changes once you are here. I'm sure even for you yourself.
And you said that has rubbed off to you. You think of yourself as someone else, and I believe like that is an intentional decision that you've taken. Mm-hmm. And back to our listeners, today's episode is titled being intentional rather. And before I get straight into unpacking the topic, I'd like to say that change is necessary. It is actually very important, and it is also what makes life exciting. When we fear change, it keeps us in an energy of feeling stuck, powerless, and resentful. But when we embrace it, when we open ourselves to understanding that anything is possible and that life is not supposed to stay the same way, we are not supposed to stay the same. Our life, our communities, and our world are always in bloom. And when we understand this, we see that change is growth, and that growth, it is very essential for each and every one of us to reach our collective potential. And having said that, I want us to talk about life being a series of choices. I usually say that you are the choices that you make. You are the decisions that you take, and that you are the goals that you set for yourself. And I wanted to know that at this point in time, do you think that you have been intentional enough with all the choices that you've made in life,
To be quite honest, absolutely not.
I love your honesty, I must say.
Yeah, and I think it only dawns on you when you're older. I'm 26 now, and I'm looking back at some of the choices I've taken when I was younger, and I wish I knew then what I know now. I wish I was as intentional then in some of the decisions that I made, and it's decisions ranging from what I chose to study in college, for instance, decisions based on what boy I decided to date. So many decisions now that I think about. I wish I was more intentional in making those choices. But then again, that is why there is growth.
True.
I honestly believe in one making mistakes, and I feel like we should all make mistakes, because it's through those mistakes that you grow and you learn.
Right.
And it's those mistakes that will shape, how you will proceed to continue living this life onward. So in as much as I hate that I wasn't as intentional in some areas of my life and in some choices I made, I think I'm also okay with the mistakes that I've made, because now that I'm grown, now that I'm 26, now that I'm trying to practice living intentionally each day, only now that I understand all of that, does it make sense? And honestly, I'm glad I made all those mistakes, and I can't say I'm glad I wasn't living intentional, but that is what I knew then. But Eunice, thank God for growth, honestly.
Yeah,
Thank God,
it's a beautiful
God for
thing,
growth.
right? I think life is beautiful, overwhelming as it is.
It's very overwhelming, but then again, you have, beautiful days, and you're like, oh, this isn't so bad after all. And I have a lot of those moments where sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, why is this happening to me? Like, my life sucks. And then the next day, something beautiful happens, and it doesn't even have to be anything big. And I'm like, oh, but life is beautiful. So, it's life. And I think what matters is learning from your mistakes. Um, there's nothing I can do with my past choices, but now, today, I can decide to be intentional with how I move forward from now onwards.
I like that. I must say that there are two parts to this, the part where you were not intentional and you are probably learning to be intentional.
Yeah.
And there's a phase of self-discovery, because that phase is the one that helps you put down your goals.
Absolutely.
It is what separates us from our culture and what surrounds us into what we actually want to achieve. And I don't want to say I also haven't been intentional and all of that. I think I'm happy with some of the decisions that I've been creating, because maybe I was fortunate enough at a young age to learn that as I creatively participate in the life that I desire, I should be intentional about some of the things that I want. And I feel like now it has even gotten to a point whereby I'm even intentional with the company that I keep. We are often accused of forgetting where we come from. People have a funny way of making you feel guilty and force you to try and maintain relationships that are not actually going anywhere or aren't taking you anywhere. And it just recently dawned to me that destiny does not require you to continue to surround yourself with people that you have worked to be away from, or from a life that you have worked so hard to escape from. And I know you're also probably on that journey of finding your foot and maybe starting to make those intentional decisions. But what I wanted to know is that what are some of the things that you had to do that made you realize that, this is what I desire for my life. This is the next goal that I want to achieve. Because I know for me, it has been a process of reading a lot, spending time with myself, like intentionally making self-dates, getting to know myself better. And people might wanna shift that into self-love. Yes, I agree. But it's some of the things that you intentionally do because you want to see yourself some way. Some of us go on the longest journey of trying to find ourselves, because in most cases, like I said, we surround ourselves with people that don't even deserve our time. For the longest time, you spend time on things that aren't even like worth your energy. So I'm just interested in knowing that what was the process that you had to go through in discovering who you are.
Before I get to that, I think I just want to mention a bit about, you said that you, growing up, I think you can confidently say that you were somewhat intentional with some of the choices that you've made. And that is so good, good for you that you were able to do that. And I must mention that I think life, what we go through, our childhood and growing up, I think that also has a role to play in, how we turn out or how we, spend our childhood growing up.
Yes.
Basically. And I think it's so good that you knew, and you can confidently say you have, tried to be intentional in all your choices that led up to where you are today. But unfortunately, we are different people.
True.
From different walks of life, and we go through different things. Now, I hate to make excuses. I hate to make excuses, but I think we, need to acknowledge that sometimes some people end up making bad choices or not being intentional in the choices they make because they just do not know how. Because their childhood just did not allow them to do that. And I was almost one of those people.
I like what you're saying because it relates so much to the previous episode when I said, our backgrounds are actually a major role in the default settings that we grow up with. Yeah,
definitely. I remember, so I'm an only child. Well, I only discovered, I think 2-3 years ago, that I have a half brother and sister from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
But all my life growing up, I was an only child as far as I knew. I went to a couple of schools. I was always changing schools because mom passed when I was 8. Dad passed when I was 2. So I don't even remember as far as I can, I don't ever remember having a dad. I remember mom because I was 8. But going through the shift of being an only child, because being an only child meant growing up, I got almost everything I wanted. I remember I had toys and dolls, and I had a cute little pink bike, and it was just mom and I, and vivid memories. And at 8, my life changed from that to living with a family member who didn't really get along with mom when she passed. So I think all the stress and everything that the two of them were having, it was now being put on top of me.
Yeah.
To moving to my grandmother, to moving all the time. And in the Black community, things like that, it's like, it's life goes on. People die, it's fine. Which, I don't think it's fine, but it's normal. It happens to so many people. I'm not the only one, unfortunately. But things like that can have an effect on, an individual. So I think because of that childhood and just, other things that I went through that are not necessary to bring up here, I think because of that, my choices were never really intentional. I think in some of my choices, I was trying to make up for, maybe a lack of what I didn't get growing up, for instance.
Yes.
So I just wanted to mention that not everyone will be intentional from birth. And for some people, it's very easy. And then again, you find someone who went through probably more horrible stuff than what I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And they were just intentional because that's just how they are wired, and they know how to deal with things. And I think it also comes down to how you deal with things. For some people, you have to kind of stumble a bit and learn okay, this is what works, and things become okay. Other people grew up their whole life just troubled, and whatever choice they made, one after another, it's a bad one. And it's not because they want to, make bad choices.
True.
I think it's just because they've been so traumatized and they do not really honestly know how to make a different choice, and I know that can easily be said, you're just, lazy, or sounds like excuses, but
yeah.
I think it's worth noting that we are different, definitely different people with different life experiences and circumstances. And, if you are not intentional up until this point, if you are listening to this and you feel like up until this point in your life you have not been intentional in the decision that you've taken, honestly, it's fine. It takes longer for some people.
Yeah.
It could be whatever happened in your life, it could be that you're still learning. It could be that you're still getting there. I think what's important is realizing that I can actually change. I can actually be in charge of the choices I make and actually choose to do this and not do this. Because sometimes we don't know. We just do it because, that's all we know.
Yeah, lack of knowledge as well. I like that.
Knowledge, yeah. So now coming back to your question, I'm so sorry.
No, it's totally fine. And I guess our listeners really had to hear that, because like you say, we are all on different life paths, So yeah. I like that you touched on that, but yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm trying to remember your question correctly, you asked some of the things that made me realize what I wanted for my life.
Yeah, the process of discovering who you are.
I'm not sure when this happened, but sometime a few years ago, I think I saw how everyone around me, well, not everyone, but I saw how, people dearly love and how their lives stand.
Yeah.
That I told myself that this is not going to be my life. I know it's all I've known because everyone around me, all my older cousins who I've always looked upon, and they were my heroes growing up. All found themselves in an area that I personally would not want to find myself. And I think when you have seen poverty and you have seen enough people, I don't want to say make the wrong choices because that's their choices and maybe those are the only choices they had at the time.
Yes.
It would be insensitive of me to say wrong choices, but I guess seeing other people's life experiences and seeing how they ended up based on the choices they took or the cards that were played to them, I told myself that I wanted different. I guess it's seeing where I come from. It's seeing my people home, the village, and just thinking, you know what? I want different, and I'm going to get different. I don't know how, but I'm going to have different somehow. I don't think I can describe the process, but I just knew after seeing enough people that that's not what I wanted, or that I wanted to end up, in a different setting. And that's what I've been working at up until now. And honestly, I'm still not there. I'm far from where I'd love to be, but I'm glad I'm
constantly working on it. Yes,
I think it's a constant project that you keep working on. But yeah, maybe you can share your thoughts of how your process was. When did you realize that, this is what you want, or how did you come to where you are? Like, how did you come to deciding, okay, I want to go after this goal and this is my life goal? Like, how did you get there?
I like that. And, I guess the beautiful thing about it is that once you think of something and you start investing on it, the picture becomes more clearer to you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been reading a lot. I think I did mention this to you that this year alone, I might have read like 15 books. And
oh, wow, you go,
girl.
I've been so bad.
Girl.
So bad.
So some of the books have shaped my thinking, and I guess there's this one book that I read. I think it was Shonda, Year of Yes, and she spoke about how you speak to yourself sets the tone of how the rest of the world will actually talk to you. And I know that I love talking to myself, but I feel like I was not really intentional about how I would talk to myself, and so I started waking up in the morning going straight in the
Yeah.
mirror and not be like, Eunice, you are amazing. You are beautiful. You are this, you are that, you are that. You are going to
Yeah.
be doing this, you are going to be doing that. And
Yeah.
I guess from that alone,
Mhm.
what I've been attracting has been set by what I tell myself, you know. I know that I want to get back to modeling so bad. And I've started working out. And I'm not working out because I owe anyone a flat stomach, but it's because of some of the life goals that I'm aiming at. You know, I've started. I've been investing on my brain because I knew that at some point I wanted to do this whole podcasting thing, and I had to have like the right kind of content to give out to people. You know, I guess coming this side, I was also intentional about finding who I am exactly. And I made that decision that yes, I'm gonna leave SA because life is lived through discovery. I'm gonna see what USA has in store for me. And I'm gonna take all of that. And because I was so intentional, I told myself, Eunice, you are gonna go and you're gonna be open minded to everything that's gonna come your way. And
Yeah.
within this journey, I think I've also found my purpose. You know,
Yeah.
self talk has also been like a very important aspect in my life. Affirming things to myself, telling yourself like that you are beautiful. Girl,
Yeah.
you end up walking in the street and you don't even care if people say something to you or not because you've already given yourself that boost, that emotional boost, you know?
Yeah.
I've been intentional lately about not wanting to work for anyone else. You know, life will humble you to a point where you're like, you start having business ideas that you didn't even have. And I guess it's because it has gotten to my point where, to a point where I was like, I am done being broke. You know,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I am,
I understand.
I want to be able to work for myself anyway, be in Zanzibar, be in Mauritius, be wherever, and still be able to work to make money and not report to anyone. And because
Yeah.
I've been so intentional on that, I've been investing my time on reading about ways to create my own financial freedom. Things are coming my way, you know. Oh my goodness, I just don't want to go deep into this, but
Yeah.
God sees our hearts, He sees our desires, and He provides. He's such a wonderful man. And I could say that the moment you start being clear, you set goals, make sure that you work on those goals, your life starts opening up to what you actually want. I remember
Yeah.
how I had to sacrifice everything that I ever wanted because I wanted to buy this podcasting material. You know, I feel like the money that I invested in this, I wanted to take a trip. I don't remember if I wanted to go to Washington, but I was like, Washington can wait. I want to start investing on my dream. And me buying the equipment was me being intentional on
Yeah.
some of the goals that I want.
Yeah.
Believe you
Yeah.
me, the picture was not clear. But after I bought the equipment, the picture started being clear. I knew that I wanted to interview you. I knew that I wanted to have a talk with this person and that person. I knew exactly which route I wanted to take. And I
Yeah.
believe that it's simply because I challenged myself,
Yeah.
you know, to be intentional in that sense.
Honestly, you going out as far as buying the equipment, that right there was you being intentional, 100.
And it's only now that I'm
It's-
realizing it, you know.
Yeah. And because it's one thing to, I want to do this, not to do that, and this and this and this. But when you actually make a decision to do something,
Right.
then you are 100% intentional. You choosing to not travel, but to do this because you really want to do this. That right there is being intentional.
And you know, I know a lot of people, maybe you are one of them. I don't know. I don't want to mock. But like people who are like, I want to start a YouTube channel. I feel like I have all the content, all the material. Girl, like, what are you waiting for? What is it that is standing in your way? Is it a mic that you need? Go and buy it, and then you'll start having ideas on what to talk about,
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that is me who you just spoke about. You just pointed me out, but it's so true. And I think if you're going to choose to be intentional, and this is something I'm still learning, I don't think you can be intentional and be fearful.
True. And you know what I've just learned?
No.
And this was from Will Smith. We go through life worrying to a point whereby we don't even realize that God has actually placed so many beautiful things on the other side of fear. Think about all the things that you've been scared of.
Yeah.
The moment you started putting yourself out there, were they still fearful things to you? No. You discovered the most beautiful things. So that's a topic for another episode, but I like that you touched on it because that's the one thing that's stopping us from, that's the biggest space that we have between ourselves and our dreams.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. And I think I'm trying to get to a point where fear just does not live within me. And I'm doing pretty good.
I like that. Big up to
I
you.
should say myself. And everything that we want and we've ever wanted and we wish for is on the other side, And you mentioning about, for instance, someone wanting to start a YouTube channel or start a blog or whatever, that is me right there. I have had an idea of doing YouTube, of doing a blog for the past, I couldn't even tell you how many years.
Oh my God.
And I'm constantly thinking, but what if I don't have enough content? What if I don't have anything to offer the people? What if people don't like me? And it's funny because the one thing I know I can do very well is write and put my emotion and express myself on paper.
Yeah.
In high school and throughout school, like I used to take part in writing competitions, and I've won a few. When I was in matric, I was one of few students who entered the writing competition, and we had a book published. We each had a chapter of like a story.
How amazing is that?
Imagine me, who collected all those writing awards, who won awards for my school, who at 17 had the story published in a book that is sitting in school libraries.
Girl, I want to read that book. Come on.
That person, is the same person who, I can't start a blog because I'm just not sure if I'm, a good enough writer. I'm not sure if people will be interested in reading it. I'm not sure if I can do it. I'm not sure. And it's all this fears, all this, what if you don't have it anymore? What if you're not good? But all I can say is fear is a liar. And I'm starting to, be intentional about not being scared. Right now, as we speak, I'm going through, something big, which I can't really disclose here. But
yeah.
I think fear is what is holding me back. I basically have to make a choice, and it can be a life-changing choice, something that I want so greatly. But if I told you, Eunice, how many weeks and months it took me to get to that choice because of fear, you will be amazed. And I'm reading self-help books, and I'm trying to tell myself that fear is a liar. There's a quote, I don't remember how it goes, but it's something to do with, what if you fly?
Yeah.
We are so scared of jumping. What if I fall? What if it doesn't work out? But honey, what if you fly?
Yeah, I think I know that book.
What if you actually fly? And you won't know until you do it. And right now, I'm practicing listening to my heart, and being intentional with where I want to be and where I want to get. And if it means fear, then I'm going to do it scared anyways. Fear doesn't mean you don't have to do it. Do it. Just do it scared.
And see where it takes you.
And see where it takes you. So it's that you spoke to me. You
And I'm
definitely
actually glad
spoke
that
to
I
me.
challenged you on this
It's a process.
podcast.
I know.
I'm
You
happy
called me
because
out,
I'm
but
like doing this. I want people
it's
to be
it's a
challenged, and I'm
process.
challenging the very same people that I'm interviewing.
I
How
know.
is that even
Yeah,
possible?
yeah. But honestly, I think life is a journey. Every day we learn things about ourselves. Um, and sometimes I wish, I were faster in some areas. I wish I were not fearful or I was intentional, just like, oh, easy. But like I said, I think for some people it's a bit different. It takes a while for some people. And sometimes something would have been in front of you the whole time. And you only realize it 10 years later and you're like, So I think I'm on the right track. I'm getting there. And I think what's important is acknowledging um, and being intentional with where you want to end up and starting today with small changes. And your change, you don't have to start with like extreme, start with like little small changes. Like you said, you want to get into modeling again. So now you have started working out. And it's not because you only want a flat tummy. It's because you want to get there again, to pursue it again. So start small, start with changing one small thing. Start with doing, even if you're scared doing something,
Just do it.
Just do it, yeah.
Well, Ndina, thank you so much for your time. I think I don't know, how do I put this? I'm at a point where I'm creating like a scared space for my relationships where I'm able to attend to them with trust, love, and care, as well as kindness.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we set an intention that the energy between ourselves and someone else is as compassionate, judgment free, we make it possible to be loving shelters for one another. And I'm truly grateful for you having taken this time to attend to what I'm calling a journey for myself, because this could be me building a dream. We just do not know it yet.
Yeah.
But I am truly grateful. And to those listening who probably want to start getting intentional with their lives and they probably do not know how, these are the few things that I would love to say to you. Get honest with yourself. Be the person that you are most clearest with. Be the person you are most fearless with. These are the seeds that turn your life into a garden of authenticity. Self-love is also important. And if you do not know how to start by discovering the little things that you like doing, because those little things will open up a door for you to start setting the kind of goals, creating the kind of life that you desire for yourself. I will allow Ndina to leave her contact details just in case you'd love to get hold of her, share an experience, or just even compliment her or thank her for sharing her story. Back to you, Ndina.
Well, thank you so much, Eunice, for inviting me to do this. I feel so honored to be, one of the first people to do this, because I know that you will be amazing. I know that this will grow into something bigger if you want it to be.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited. Like, I'm legit excited to see where you end up, how you end up, where you take this thing that you have started.
Girl, we could be co-hosting conferences and you could be that speaker, Me having a speaker from Namibia. Look how beautiful that would be.
Honestly, I know. And I'm very, and all I can say is, and of course, things change. We change our minds all the time, and you're allowed to change your mind.
Yes.
But if this remains, for as long as this remains dear to your heart, do it wholeheartedly. Put in all your effort. Put in, sacrifice. Invest in it. Invest in top-notch equipment, whatever it takes, because it's a beautiful idea that you came up, and it can be a platform for so many.
Thank you so
people,
much, love.
And the thing is, you're not any special person.
Yes.
And, I don't mean this in any negative way, but
thank you.
You are just an ordinary girl
Human
who
being.
came out of the streets of South Africa, who saw an opportunity. I'm not sure what you had to go through to make it in the US, and you came, you learned, you conquered, you grew. And, it's inspiring and motivating to know that you don't need to be an extraordinary person or to come from a certain background to do things. Eunice is an ordinary girl, and you're doing this. I'm an ordinary girl.
We all are ordinary people with extraordinary dreams, visions.
Exactly. And I think as long as we hold on to that and we continue doing what is close to our heart, we are going to bloom and we're going to be wonderful. So, I'm so honored to have done this episode. I know it's one of your very first episodes. So
yeah.
I will be cheering on when you have recorded your 100th episode. And I'll be like, yay!
We did it!
We did it, when we were still not really sure how it was going and we were a bit nervous. But, so go continue doing it.
Thank you.
To everyone who has listened, thank you so much. All I can say is be kind to yourself, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever your life story is. Be kind to yourself. It's okay if, you are not 100% perfect, because some days are better than others. Listen to your heart. What do you really want? What does your heart desire? And do that. Go after that. However way you can. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Ask for help if you must. And I think, maybe, because the one thing I've realized we also do a lot is we listen to other people.
Yeah.
And we allow other people's fears to project onto us. And then whatever dreams we have would be like, oh, okay, maybe they are right. Because someone would be like, Eunice, we see her podcasting, what. And it's so true, because we live in a community, especially our Black community. It's as if people take pride in belittling and just, crashing dreams. So I will say, listen, trust yourself. Whatever you want to do, if that's what you want to do, then, heck, screw everyone else. I mean, of course, don't do anything that will hurt someone. Don't do anything on someone else's expense, feelings. But if that's what you want to do, do it. Be kind to yourself. Take it one step at a time. Ask for help. And if, you don't get help the first time, keep asking, keep doing, keep being intentional. And, yeah, I mean, honestly, let's get things done. Let's live our best lives. Let's realize our dreams. Like I said, I'm so sorry. I never finished talking. But
take your time, girl. Surely my listeners are like, woo!
No, I'm done. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Whoever's listening. I don't have any blogs or YouTube channels yet, but since Eunice called me out, that will probably be in the pipeline very soon, because it's something I have considered for a very long time. But in the meantime, if you want to connect with me or, send me a message, you can reach me on Instagram. If you have Instagram, my handle is Ndina_Nehemia. That's Ndina and then _Nehemia. So yeah, send me a message, send me a friend request. Let's follow each other. Let's connect. Let's motivate each other. And I think 100% reply to messages. So I promise I won't be ignoring if you send me a message, just wanting to connect or talk or whatever. Eunice, thank you so much.
There we have it for today. Thank you so much, Ndina. I feel it is so important to recognize that we are all one. You and your children are one. You and your neighbor are one. You and your partner are one. The dangers of the world are furthered only when we decide that the suffering of others is not our problem. Do not live your life in a bubble, and if you do, let it be one that is large enough for all humanity. Understanding oneness is the first step to understanding inner peace, outer peace, and a holistic happiness. If you'd also like to give me feedback, give a comment, or even share a suggestion, next topic or next episode, you can also catch me on my Instagram or Facebook page. I go by Eunice Temba. On Instagram, it's uni_ngitandiwe. You can also send me an email on eunicetemba96@gmail.com. Till we talk again on my next episode, thank you and have a blessed day. I love you all. Mwah!